This is the Geekom GT13 Pro, a mini PC with 13th generation Intel Core i9. A robust mini PC offering an i9 processor, Xe graphics, large memory, and a rich expansion support. All of this in a stylishly small but sturdy package. In this review, we'll be taking a look at the features of the Geekom GT13 Pro and putting it to the test in real-life scenarios. So, let's get started. Welcome back to Space Age Tech, where we look at the tech that pushes the limits. The Geekom GT13 Pro honors its category as a mini PC with this super compact size. This lightweight mini PC fits in any luggage, purse, backpack, wallet, or even your back pocket. Let's dive into some of the details. First, let's see what's in this sleek box. Once we remove the lid, the first thing you'll see is our GT13 Pro, protected by its foam. This mini PC only measures 4.43 inches long and 4.43 inches wide by 1.5 inches tall. Under the mini PC, we have our quick reference guide. We'll need this as we get started. On the bottom compartment, we can find an HDMI cable for a monitor. This mini PC can actually support up to 4 4K displays or one 8K display. We also have our power adapter and our power cable. Additionally, they have included a VESA mount. Here are a few screws we can use to install our VESA mounting plate. If you want to maximize your desk space, you may consider mounting the GT13 Pro to the back of your monitor with this plate. And that is all we have in the box. Now, let's take a look at the specs. The GT13 Pro has a pretty sleek and durable aluminum body that allows for airflow and easy access to upgrades. And speaking of airflow, this model also includes a custom-designed cooling system, Ice Blast 1.5. This system utilizes thermally conductive materials and larger fan blades for efficient heat dissipation to ensure optimal performance and longevity of all components. And its size is not a limitation when it comes to connectivity. This mini PC allows you to connect all your peripherals and devices with a generous input and output array. On one side, we have an SD card reader. On the back, we have two USB 4 Gen 3 that support power delivery. We also have two HDMI 2.0. On the front, we have a USB 3.2 Gen 2, which supports power delivery. We also have an additional USB 3.2 Gen 2, one 3.5mm headset jack, and our power button. One of the strengths of this mini PC is the ability to support multiple screens. As mentioned, it can support up to 4 4K displays or one 8K display. So you have the option to customize your workstation as needed. For our wireless connection, we have wireless LAN, Wi-Fi 6E, and Bluetooth 5.2. For the operating system, this mini PC comes preloaded with Microsoft Windows 11 64-bit. Now that we know what's on the outside, let's take a look at the inside. Removal of the bottom plate is easy, just a few screws and we can take a look at the components. So you'll have easy access to the RAM, SSDs, Wi-Fi antennas, and any other type of upgrade you might want to do. We have this pre-installed M.2 2280 NVMe SSD with a capacity of 1 terabyte. Here's the Acer SSD. We also have two built-in slots for DDR4 3200 MHz RAM, upgradable to 64 gigabytes. And you also have an option of adding an extra M.2 2242 SATA 3 SSD. Here we're separating the upper case from the board. This will allow us to have access to the fan and the heatsink below. We had to be careful of the Wi-Fi antenna wires attached to each end of the case for the disassembly of the heatsink and fan. This fan is part of the Ice Blast 1.5 cooling system we mentioned earlier. Under the fan we have our heatsink. We'll also be taking that out so you can get a closer look. Along with the fan, this heatsink keeps the GT13 Pro at optimal temperature by dissipating heat, which improves the overall performance and lifespan of the components. Here you can appreciate the surface of the heatsink and the thermal paste application. After cleaning off the thermal paste, you can see our CPU die. And here is a closer look of our CPU die. In our next section, we'll be running some performance tests. All of these tests were done before we took apart the unit, so the results would not be affected. First, we'll verify all the components. We can see all the components identified by HW-info, CPU-C, and GPU-Z. HW monitor also keeps an eye on the temperature, usage, and clocks. One component we haven't talked about yet are graphics. The GT13 Pro comes equipped with Intel Iris Xe graphics. This technology allows for vibrant details and smooth streaming. This will come more into play when we see which games we can run. The unit does not come with a GPU, but you do have the option of connecting to an external GPU if needed. So let's see how it performs. For our first test, we will run Cinebench. Cinebench is a CPU-based rendering benchmark for optimizing 3D rendering times. It measures CPU performance by rendering a scene using all CPU threads. We can then compare the results against other similar systems. As we run all these tests, we're going to keep the HW monitor open over on the right-hand side of your screen. This test will take about 10 minutes to complete, after which we'll be able to see how it compares in performance to other similar systems. Here's our result. You can see on the lower left-hand side we have our ranking for our CPU in orange compared to others. Our next test is the Furmark stress test. Here we'll be watching to see how the system handles the load. This test only takes a few minutes and the GT13 Pro handled it pretty well. Next up, we'll try Puget Bench. This test is more geared toward creators and is designed to benchmark professional workloads in the most common video editing, photography, VFX, and motion graphics application. We'll test it using Adobe Premiere Pro, which is very important for creators like us. We want to see how well it supports the load. At the end of the test, we can see our overall score, which can then be compared to other similar systems. In this case, our Puget Bench score was 1495. Next, we'll try Crystal Diskmark for SSD performance. Here, we're testing the reading and writing speeds. This will test our NVMe SSD. The first test is going to be more geared towards optimal performance. So we're going to find out what the maximum read and write speeds are. This should closely match the advertised specs of the SSD. For our final test, we'll use Can You Run It? This test tells you what games your system meets the minimum required specifications to run. Although you can run quite a few games, Many others will require a GPU for best performance. We have some interesting games here like Fortnite, Minecraft, Sims. Overall, there is a lot that Geekom GT13 Pro has to offer. The small but rugged design makes it easy to bring along anywhere. The connectivity options make it easy to connect to any device at your convenience. And the overall performance does not disappoint. If you're looking for a mini PC for home and business, the Geekom GT13 is a very good option at a reasonable price tag. If you're ready to get yours, take a look at the links in the description. We'll be reviewing this and other amazing technology in our upcoming videos. If you like this one, please like and subscribe. It really helps our channel grow.